Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hello, dear viewers. Hello, Sheba. Hello, Saumu. So, welcome to another episode, and it's a new face. In the last video, I talked about me not being able to travel for the two reasons that I gave, but Alhamdulillah, Sheba shared his opinion and he said, why don't you try inviting the people via Zoom? It would be more easier. And I thought it's a good idea. So here we are today. We have Saumu, we have Sheba. All these people are from different places far away from me. One being from Uganda, one in Nyahururu, and I am in Nakuru, but Alhamdulillah, we have been able to come together to shoot this video. And today's topic is going to be about how to live with your roomie in uni. And we know that living with people is not an easy thing. Sharing a living space with other people is not an easy thing. And even if you guys are close, but once you start sharing a living space, it's not going to be that easy. And there are so many things that are going to happen. And based on how we carry ourselves with each other, it's going to determine whether we are going to be roommates for a long time, or we are going to be roommates for the shortest time history has ever recorded. So with me here today is Saumu Marera. I'd like you to tell our viewers, who are you? And yeah, feel at home.
Okay, Bismillah. Hi, as Moina said, my name is Saumu Marera. I'm a medical student in Uganda, first year.
MashaAllah, tabarakallah. And which university, by the way?
Islamic University in Uganda.
MashaAllah. And we have Sheba. He has been here before.
Naam, assalamu alaikum, you guys. You guys know me, probably if you've watched previous videos on this channel. But my name is Sheba, and I'm also a third-year clinical medicine undergrad student. And I'm so grateful to be here today. Yeah, and I'm so happy, inshallah, to hear what Saumu and Mona have to say about this really nice topic.
Yeah. So when you look at the three of us, we have one thing in common. We are all university students, and that means probably, if not now, then we have had a roommate before, right? And we have not been good roomies. If you ask maybe some of our roommates, we have been bad roomies, and sometimes we have been good, because we are humans. We are not 100% perfect. We have the bad side and the good side of us. So we came together and thought, why don't we make a video that is going to help other peers in the same bracket as us navigate through living with the other person, so that we can have these healthy roomie relationships. And our discussion today is going to be based on some areas, based on what our speakers have to say. So we are going to look at the financial side of living with your roomie, the chores, and so many other things that our speakers are going to feel like this is how we should take the discussion. So on to the point, how do we foster a healthy relationship with our roomies in uni? Sheba, start it for us, inshallah.
Okay, Bismillah. So the idea of a roommate, I guess it's a very nice topic first, but it's not just a roommate. It comes out to like every other person you have to interact with, because I know the roommate is kind of like a specific situation in our lives, but if you take a deeper look into it, it's our whole lives in general. See, roommates peke yake, it tends to cross all over our lives. And for this, I had like three main things that I saw that are very important, that we all need to know, and we all need to start implementing, that are so important in cultivating the healthy relationship between wewe na roommate wako, to avoid mambo ambao they can be avoided, and living just a really nice life with your roommate. So one of them is communication. And I'm going to bring out, inshallah, a very good hadith, a part of a hadith that the Prophet ﷺ taught us. The hadith is I'm just picking a part of it. It's أَوَلَا أَدُلُّكُمْ عَلَى شَيْءٍ إِذَا فَعَلْتُمُوهُ تَحَابَبْتُمْ. Do not I tell you about something, when you do it, you are going to love each other. أَفْشُوا السَّلَامَ بَيْنَكُمْ. Give salam and greetings to each other. You know, as this is a very important thing that is telling us, communicate with your roommates. Like, zungumzeni, unaona. You have something, tell your roommate. You have nini, tell them that this is blah, 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 this and this. And the issue about salam, yani mimi naona ni katika hikma za Mtume sallallahu, because salam, huwezi kusalimia mtu tu na conversation ikaisha hapo. You'll be like, oh, how was your day? How did it go? How was the exam? How was this? How was that? With time, it's going to cultivate yani ile room ambayo itakuwa like, this is my roommate, namjulia hali. And what the Prophet said, awala tahababtum, yani you will love each other. So communication is very, very, very key. Naona katika this whole aspect, communication is really, really important.
Okay.
Yale maswali kidogo tu.
Just go on first and then I'll come in.
Yeah, like, how was your day? Pengine roommate wako umemwona jana usiku yosoma exam. Waona, maybe you're not in the same class. Then they come from the exam. You're like, hey, and how was the exam? How was it? Like, the communication at some point, it's going to grow for you guys to be able to like mutapendana. It's going to come naturally.
Yeah.
Then
so
secondly is being kind and considerate. Again, the Prophet ﷺ said,
so my question,
the Prophet ﷺ said, now just go on,
so based on the topic of communication, I see it as a very important thing, especially okay, when you look at the aspect of sometimes your roommate might do something that annoys you, you see, and sometimes it's not easy to let it out at that moment, because when you let it out at that moment, you will let it out you won't let it out in a good way. So I think the best way, once you're in that you are in such a scenario, is walk out of your room if possible, and just change the environment, and then come back later and tell her, you know what, you did 1, 2, 3, and I didn't like that. And then when we look at the aspect of communication too, I'd like to look at it from the start. Sometimes we choose roomies, right? But sometimes we don't. We just find our...
So you're saying about how it is hard to, when that time umekasirika, hapo you want to go out all in on your roommate and tell them, I don't know, like, where is Nini? You want to shout at them. That is not the right moment. And this is actually, I put this into consideration when I was thinking about the points I was going to talk to. The second one is being considerate. Be kind and considerate. The Prophet ﷺ says, ahibba linnasi ma tuhibbuhu li nafsi. Wewe mwana ama wewe Saumu, pale wakati ambako yes mwenzako amekasirika, lakini wewe ukishautiwa utasikia raha. Mtu akikupigia kelele utasikia raha. So it's like ahibba linnas ma tuhibbuhu li nafsi. What you love for yourself, then love it for other people. Unaona? Be kind to them, be considerate. Wewe wataka mtu awe considerate na wewe, then you have to be considerate to them. Show them that you are kind to them, they will obviously, unless labda wametoka dunia nyingine, lakini people usually tend to lie like, vile unavyonifanya na mimi nitakufanya hivyo hivyo. Ndio maana tuambiwa moto hauzimi moto. Ukiwa wewe una hasira, mwenzako lazima mmoja wenu atulie. Lazima mmoja wenu awe baridi ili azime mwenzake. So being kind and considerate about others, like wewe unachokipendea wewe mwenyewe nafsi yako, wapenda mtu azungumze na wewe hivi, wapenda ukikosea mtu akwambie hivi, wapenda ukifanya hivi mtu akwambie hivi. The same way ambao ungependa wewe reaction ije kwako, the same way you're supposed to do it to other people. I don't know what some you have to say about this.
Thinking, I'm sure. Like if nyinyi nyote wawili mko na hasira, ama tuseme kama ulivyosema, it's saa hiyo ndo amefanya kitu na kimekuudhi, waambiwe usianze kuongea kama una hasira. Like kaa kando, tulia kwanza, fikiria. Mpatie mwanzo kwa sababu pengine labda hajui ama labda amesahau kama ulikuwa ushaimwambia yani kabla. Mpatie mwanzo kwa sababu alafu ile ukikaa naye vizuri, ukiongea naye, yani huyo mtu he's more likely ama she's more likely kuacha than ile ukimpigia kelele. Atakuwa sasa pengine yaweza amua amenipigia kelele na mimi kesho nitamfanyia kusudi kufanya tena. So ndo hivyo ya.
Yeah, thank you so much for bringing that perspective. Well, I'm really learning a lot from you guys. Sheba, you want to say something?
Yeah, it's the general idea of being considerate. Like,
yeah.
Yani ukaa tu chini ukifikiria mimi kweli nikiona hata kama mtu ana hasira vipi, lakini huwezi kuja kunishautia. Unaona? Wewe hilo jambo lishakukera pale pale. Ukishamfikiria mwenzako, ukishajifikiria kwamba mimi sipendi hivi, automatically it will come naturally that you will tend to like at least kidogo punguza ama take a few steps back, kama vile Saumu anasema, you don't act immediately. And I guess vile Saumu amesema, it's really really important to take into consideration our actions. Fikiria mwanzo kabla haujafanya. Fikiria mwanzo kabla haujamwambia mwenzako kitu, because yeye ni binadamu kama wewe na wewe ni binadamu kama yeye. Kinachomuumiza kitakuumiza, kinachomfurahisha kitakufurahisha wewe. So that's a really nice point. And then
Sheba, on the point of communication, okay, I see it as a very broad point, apart from talking when something isn't right for you. There's also this part of when you guys are coming together for the first time. I think it's very, very important to bring things to the table. You guys communicate like, I am this kind of a person. If you are ladies, if you are guys, maybe you don't like it when the other gender comes into your room. You tell your roommate from the word go that I know you're going to have people, but I personally, these are some of my boundaries. I don't like it when this happens. I don't like it when this happens. And this should come from both sides. Like, it's very, very important to communicate, because when you are in your room, it's like that is your space. And when you are in your space, you want to be comfortable. One time I visited a public university. I was going to see a friend. So the lifestyle there is different. They share, my friend was living in the university's hostel, and it's totally different from our university, which is a Christian university, and Marera's university, which is an Islamic university. Like, there is no, like, they are not allowed to cross ways, like girls going to boys hostel and boys coming to girls hostel. But then it was late at night and you are relaxing in that room, you are very comfortable, and then suddenly my friend's roommates came with a guy, Shana, and I felt really uncomfortable because I was not expecting at that time of the hour somebody to come in, and I was just forced to cover myself and force myself to sleep, and like I really didn't like the experience. But then I had to put up with it because maybe my friend didn't make it clear to the roommate that you're not supposed to do 1, 2, 3, because my faith does say 1, 2, 3. And I think it's very important, especially if you're living the two of you and you're from different faiths, you have different values. It's very, very important to communicate. When you keep quiet about it, the other person may feel like, okay, it's fine, they're okay with it, so what, I'm going to do it. And then you keep swallowing those small chunks, you keep swallowing them, and then it comes to a time when you erupt. And once you erupt, then that relationship won't be safe anymore. So I think, based on the point of communication you brought up, it's very, very important to bring things to the table, to talk about your boundaries, what you want, what you don't want, and yeah, that is going to help as well. So Marera, before we go to Sheba's third point, come in, please. Marera, can you hear me? Marera, can you hear me? I think Sheba, you can.
Okay, so And then the other point, apart from the communication and being kind and oh, did you hear something from
Marera, can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you. Just that network yangu kidogo yapotea.
So we were saying, sorry about that. We were saying you come in with your points. Sheba has said 2 of them, and now we want to listen to your side of the story as well.
The 2 points zenye Sheba amesema kuhusu kindness na communication are the same kama zangu tu. Lakini I have one more point yenye it's finding the common ground. Like,
oh my God, I was going to talk about the same thing. Sorry for interrupting. Yeah. Great minds think alike. I was so surprised.
Yeah, you
bring
the
point
find the common ground. Yeah, common grounds could be in anything. Pengine kama you like food. Anyone, like you're just finding something that you both like so that you can both do it or enjoy it. Now it's a strengthen your relationship. For example, if you both can shopping, you can decide, tutakwenda shopping siku fulani. If you like a certain food, kama you can cook, we'll try cooking it ourselves. If you like watching some movies, you'll be like, okay, sawa, pia mimi nitawatch. If you're from the same places and you like things from the same places pia, for example, you get a roommate that's nyote wawili mmetoka Mombasa. You'll be like, do you know this place? Yes, I know it. Now, so tutapenda like tutapenda kwenda Mangina waterfront. You all go siku moja mkiwa holiday. So you just find things that are common with the 2 of you, ama 3 of you, depends on how many people you're living in the room with. Just find something that you all like and mutumie here to strengthen your relationship. Yeah.
So yeah, I was really surprised when Saumu said about common ground because it is in the same exact words is how I had written it down. Like you need to have a common ground to do these things. Maybe it's breakfast together every single day. Every Sunday you have breakfast together because everyone is so busy during the week. Maybe during cleaning, maybe during cooking. You just need to have that common ground. So Saumu explained it so well that I don't want to ruin it with my own vitu zangu. But then the other thing that I had that was kind of like additional to everything else is that people are like the minerals of this earth. We are all different, but we are all the same. In as much as we are all human, we are all different at some point. You might prefer viazi karai. I might not like viazi karai just because I don't like them. Or maybe the taste is not appealing to me. But then you love viazi karai. That means that at some point, we are all different. So learn the personality of your roommates. Learn how they do their things. Learn who they are. Learn them. Wajue wao kiwao. Know them as them. And then cultivate ama chonga muamala wako na wao kulingana na yeye. You're not going to treat your sibling the same way you're going to treat your roommate. They are 2 different people with 2 personalities, with 2 backgrounds, with 2 walks of life. We are not all the same. So mjue, know who it is you're calling your roommate. Usimjue tu by the name, maybe ni Saumu Marera, it's Mwanamisi Kasirani. That is just so superficial. Know them to a deep down level, to know their personality. Maybe they're a very hardworking person, ama pengine wana mkono mzito. They're not good at doing so nini kazi. Pengine ni mtu wa kujisahau kila saa, pengine yahitaji kukumbushwa kila saa. So as long as you know ni mtu wa kukumbushwa, ile kumkumbusha it won't feel vibaya kwa sababu wajua huyu mtu yuko hivi. Unaona? Kuliko mtu ambaye yani like wewe wafanya lakini hujui kama huyu mtu yuko hivi. Pengine yeye yahitaji kukumbushwa hivyo huo mfano kukumbusha kila siku. Wezaona wewe wafanya kazi kila siku basi nakwambia kila siku nakwambia, but to them it's something so normal. To them it's something that is natural. So know who it is you're dealing with. You are who you need, not just their name, where they're coming from. No, but know them to their personality level and how they handle things. And then ule muamala wako na yeye make it very specific to suit yeye peke yake, kwamba to some point kwamba huwezi amiliana na yeye the same way waamiliana na jirani yako ambaye yuko tu next door. Umenifahamu? Yeah,
Yeah.
so that was the nini I had to say about it.
I was listening to that and I was just looking at myself and the people I have lived with so far. I'm like, do I really accept these people as who they are, or I'm just somebody who, you know, sometimes you don't want to understand the other person's personalities because you want a certain personality to be displayed by the other person. So when you don't see it, you react. you react. Yeah. And I think you put it so well. It's not just about you, it's about the other person too. Exactly. You gave a good example of you could like Viaz Karai, the other person doesn't like it. You could like, you know, I really felt that. Like, it's a great lesson. So the other thing I think we should look at also is about the finances. Most of the times I've heard this from my friends where people are complaining that I live with my roommate, but it seems I cater for most of the financial expenses of the house, yet I'm also a student. My parents are also budgeting for me. How do I go about it? So what do you guys have to say about this? The financial point of view. How can we bring a common ground so that we can both participate in this and every one of us cannot complain about anything? Any one of you wants to pick up from this? Saumu, please.
I'd like to have. Yeah. Also finances, like, okay, so what I will give an example of myself. We live in a room of four. So tuko watu wanne kwenye room sasa hivi, kuna wengine bado wametoka. So saizi we are 4 of us. And kuna vitu zingine we use the same things, like soap ya kufulia tunatumia sisi sote, like tuseme sukari, you see those things. So what we usually do, tunaandika vile vitu ambavyo tunatumia sote, like sugar, like, you know, if we want drinking water, soap, and other things, we write them down. So we go shop for them. Tukishamaliza kila mtu anatoa equal amount. Like if it zote zili cost 2,000 shillings, then 500 from each of us sisi wanne, that's 2K. Then for the other things zenye ni personal zako, like tuseme your lotion, yani all of them, vile vitu vingine venye wewe peke yako ndo unavitumia, wewe mwenyewe utajinunulia. Since you're not using with anybody else, you're using wewe peke yako. So that's what we do. In the end, maona tu, you're using hivyo vitu nyote, vile ambavyo mmevinunua nyote, mwavitumia nyinyi wote na you all paid kwenye hivyo vitu kuvinunua. Yeah.
Okay, Saumu, this point of sharing, okay, sharing soap ya kufulia. What if the other person has a lot of laundry and your laundry is always minimal? How is that dealt with? Or you just assume that you've all paid, so everyone mtu akitaka aoshe.
Yeah, sisi kila mtu okay, because we have someone who washes for us na wewe waosha siku moja.
Oh,
like
so that is a different story. Yeah. That is a different story, different from our case. Okay, for us, in our case, everyone has their laundry soap. We don't share laundry soap. But yours is genuine because you have a common person who does the washing. So I think it's good that way. Sheba, do you have anything to add on this? Sheba. Sheba.
It's okay.
Yeah. Wajua alikuwa niambia amenunua bundles za
bundles
za 1 hour. So what do we do?
because
Ama
actually Mwanamisi ameanza kurecord.
we should stop our stories. Yes, Mona, you know that this thing is recording, but we can't hear you. Mona, we can't hear you. Hear you. That's good now.
Yeah, nasema nitatrim, so haina neno.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, where did Saumu go?
Okay.
Was Saumu done on the roommate sharing?
Yeah, tulikuwa tumemaliza.
Oh, okay.
You are to
Sorry,
listen to your perspective.
So mine is actually a very, very different perspective. I feel like I'm being attacked with this point, but I'm just going to be honest with you guys because it's the realities we are facing out here that we need to talk about, isn't
Yeah.
it? For me, I would say you don't have to share. You don't have. Even in the Quran, it says, ليس عليكم جناح أن تأكلوا جميعا أو أشتاتا. There's no harm in you guys eating together or alone. Unaona? So, kwanza, like, I guess it's a multi-party thing. You have to be considerate of the other person. Are you willing to share? Because there are introverted people who don't like being out there with everybody else. In as much as we are roommates, it doesn't mean that we have to share the same plate. It doesn't, no, I mean by the same plate, I mean eat the same food. You know, the fact that you are staying together, we are staying together. It doesn't mean that we have to share our finances. It doesn't. You have to be considerate of the other person. Ask them first, are you willing to join hands with me so that we can do this? Unaona, because it goes to a very far level to even like, not just si kutaka tu, but also like maybe you value a person so much that you don't want anything to come in between the two of you. And this is so common. Like I said, this is my very own, it's a very far perspective. Like it's a reality. It's not a must for people to share finances.
Yeah.
It's not a must.
Yeah.
Because you can still remain roommates and share maybe the rent that you're using and do things separately. Not separately like two different worlds. No, you sleep in the same room. You talk about things that concern you guys. You do laundry together. You do the chores together, but you don't have to chip in to everything else.
Yeah, I get you.
Like it should be normalized that being roommates can be, we are just roommates.
Yeah.
We don't need to eat together. We don't need to do this together because a lot of times, maybe you're not coming from the same background. The expenditure of Mwanamisi is not the same as the expenditure of Saumu. At some point, Mwana is going to feel constrained. Mwana is going to feel a strain from Saumu's expenditure because the two of you are not coming from the same background.
Yeah,
and
I
this
get
should
it.
be put into consideration from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Like, si lazima. And for me, like, it has to be something nyote you have to concise about. I love what Kina Saumu are doing because it's something wamekuja, I'm quite sure wamekaa chini pamoja, wakakaa wakazungumza, and they know hata siku za shopping pengine ni siku ambao wanaenda wao wote pamoja. That's very nice, unaona, and it's very good to do because it unifies you guys. But at the same point, you're supposed to be considerate of the other person who doesn't like to do that. The other person who isn't comfortable with that. The other person who mfuko wake haumruhusu kufanya kitu fulani.
Yeah.
It should somehow be normalized, and whenever you're feeling a constraint, speak up. Again, the communication thing comes up again.
And Sheba, to add on that, okay, that is a really nice point. Like, and sometimes someone cannot tell you that I cannot fit in to your budget because I have financial constraints. They'll just tell you, no, I can't do that. And like, I'm really learning a lot from this personally, and it just makes you, yeah, it just makes you have that mentality of stepping up. Instead of labeling other people, you step up and become this person who is understanding about other people. And like Marera has said, you give the other people reasons. You give them good reasons as to why you don't understand why they're doing it, but you keep telling yourself they could be doing it because of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is a really nice point, and thank you for bringing it up. And Saumu, yeah, another point that I think we should talk about is properties in the house. We know that there are shared spaces in the room, and we have spaces that each one of us own. I have a bag, I have maybe, like, there are people when they're living together, they literally take anything without asking for the other person's permission. But I think it's also good that we bring in the culture of asking before taking something. I'm taking your bag. I'm reaching out somewhere. Don't just take the bag. Or maybe I feel like I'm guilty about food. Like, maybe you wake up and you are so hungry. I really need to rectify this. You wake up, you're so hungry. You don't just eat the food that remained. You ask your roommate, like,
exactly,
you have plans with this food, or can I just eat, you know? So it's really important for us to respect each other's property and ask for things before we take. We don't just, there are people who even share clothes. Somebody goes out with their roommate's t-shirt, this other person goes, you know, but to some people it's not okay to, yeah, shoes, hijabs, but to some people it's not okay. That is their space, they don't want to share, and I think that's okay. You guys have something to add on that?
Oh, definitely has something.
Yeah, the culture of asking your roommate if he can use, their things.
Yeah.
I think that should be vital because,
Yeah.
I hate sharing shoes.
Yeah.
I just feel uncomfortable if someone puts on my shoes. It's
You don't feel
really annoying.
comfortable.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So you better ask me.
Yeah.
Anyway, niulize tu wataka kuchukua viatu vyangu niulize. I'll be like fine, kama wataka chukua, ama nikwambie mimi sipendi ile kushare viatu,
Yeah.
achana navyo. And it's the same thing na mimi pia, I have to ask mtu kama mimi nataka kitu chake, because kuna watu wengine hawapendi kushare, tuseme nguo, they don't just like that. So na mimi pia akiniambia vile, I have to respect hilo jibu.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sheba.
Okay, I guess it's really important. Whatever Saumu is saying, and I guess what Saumu is trying to say silently is trying to encourage the open conversations, trying to encourage the hard conversations, because remember, this is someone mwalala pamoja. During sleep you are so vulnerable. Mtu akichukua kisu akuue kwa sababu ya neno ulimwambia, unaona, like you are so, I'm not saying that these are the type of roommates that we have, but but you don't know where you're going to go. So the open conversations, the hard conversations are what are needed. Like, tunahitaji hizo hard conversations, because kama Saumu asiposema kwamba hapendi mtu avae viatu vyake, how will we know? Unaona? And then I guess the other thing that is really, so, and the issue about asking, it's about encouraging open communications. We find out siku moja, just sit with the roommate and tell them, me, I don't like the way you're doing this, this, and this. Unaona? Ama, I guess there's a better way we can do this. Unaona? Like having the hard conversations. Yesterday you did this and this, but I wasn't happy about, in a very kind, considerate, and polite way. Jana ulifanya kitu fulani, I wasn't happy about it. I think that The next time maybe you need something, my hijab, you can definitely ask from me. Okay, I'm talking from a very wide angle because for boys, it doesn't really matter. For boys, you can just like, it's just something we have internally, like, ni brother menu. So like, just take it and then you just walk out. So with boys, there's not so much of an issue, but I'm speaking on a very wider angle because there are boys, Mona, you know, such a kind of person. You know, such kind of a person that hawataki na vitu vao. Ni watu, they are very conservative. There are people who get angered easily. We all have different kind of perspectives. And then the other thing I wanted to say, Saumu is really showing us is preventing these things even from happening. Anambia wao, they stay, before Mwana joined, Anambia wao, they stay a group from Mombasa. They know each other. They know they're coming from the same place. So ile tabia zao at some point zitakuwa almost similar. The way you're expecting someone to behave is the same way you're expecting Mwana to behave, is the same way you're expecting maybe Zainab to behave and maybe Zahra. Unaona? Because nyote mwatoka mahali kumoja and you have the same background, you have the same thoughts and ideas. So what she's trying to say, I guess it's like, prevent these things from even happening.
At the start.
Exactly. If you're at the point of looking for a roommate, tafuta mtu ambaye mwajua, for example, you'll get along. People, maybe it's good to interact with other people, but if you're very conservative, if you're very insecure about kukana mtu, then you should look for the right person to stay with. Unaona? Si lazima ati you upate tabu nini. You can prevent this thing at the very beginning. Unaona? So I guess what Saumu is trying to show us, it's really, really important. And we can all see the same.
That was really, really nice. To add on that, okay, there's this other point of, we have been talking about communication, but then there are also some things that we can overlook. What are these tiny things that we can overlook, and what are these things that we really need to come out and speak out? Because, okay, let's say you have a roommate. Okay, when they chew food.
Is it food? What do you have with food?
No, let's say you have this roommate that when they chew food, they make noise, you know, or their mouth is open, and maybe if they sleep at night, they snore. So let's make a basement. Like, what are these things that we can talk about, tell them that, no, please don't do 1, 2, 3. And what are these things that we can talk about, address, like, you know what, please don't do that. Do we have a boundary? What are things that we can overlook, and what are the things that require our reaction of communication?
You can start.
So, kuna vitu vingine unaweza puuzilia tu. For example, you have a roommate mwenye akitoka hapendi kufunga mlango.
Yeah.
You see, saa zingine just get up, close the door and hivyo. Maanake pia kuna muda wewe mwenyewe pia wasahau kufunga ule mlango. Kuna vitu vingine unajua, you don't naweza kusema nini? Be the matured one. Yaani si lazima yani yeye afanye. Kuna vitu vingine vidogo vidogo kama hivyo, kufunga mlango ama kuzima taa ama yani kuweka nguo tu sehemu yoyote, hiyo mwambie. Lakini ukiona saa zingine nguo ameiweka chini, chukua mweke pale kwenye kitanda chake. Si lazima museme hivi. Unajua vitu vingine huwa naona kama ni mtihani tu, wajaribiwa ndo mukosane kidogo alafu, lakini kama it's something where tolerate, I think you have to avoid tu vitu vingi.
So I'm getting your point this way, like you tell the person the first time, and when you see that it's actually habitual, it's inside them, they can't change, you just ignore it and be the matured person, right? Yeah. So Sheba, do you want to add something on that?
Yeah, I do have something to say, and it's going to come out a bit harsh, so bear with me kidogo. The issue about what's kitu gani cha kupotezea na kitu gani cha kutilia umuhimu, you need to go back to basics, Mana and Saumu. Why am I telling you this? Kuna kitu kama kusnow. It's we learn biology, so we know it's natural. we know that it's intrinsic. We know it's someone's, like, it's mindani, it's biologically.
Yeah,
The
no one
person is
can
not
control
doing
it.
Exactly. No one is doing it voluntarily. So with that, imebidi umezoea. You
Yeah.
get, imebidi umezoea. So, and then like kumjua yule mtu, knowing huyu mtu hapa amefanya kusudi na hapa amefanya kwa kughafilika, it all goes back to basics, like knowing the person at a deep down level. Si kumjua tu super, because kama umjua tu juu utasema mbona kila siku anakusudi huyu, mbona kila siku yafanya hivi, but kwake yeye ni kitu ambao ni
okay.
natural, unaona. And then the other thing, are you sure the issue is them ama the issue is you? Because many times tutakuwa tujifanyia haya mambo because of us. I can give you an example. For people who are OCD like, people who love controlling things, you want things to be done in a certain way. Even if the other way is right, you want them to be done
your way.
Ndo ikae hapa. Exactly. Unaona? So you've got to ask yourself that question. Is it really them ama mimi ndo issue? Because most of the time you'll come up to realize maybe it's just totally fine the way it is, ama kitu, it's totally fine, pengine walisahau, it's totally this, it's totally okay. But then issue ni wewe mwenyewe. Like deep down you have your own issues that you feel maybe the person, you are older than the other roommates, so you feel like you have some sort of authority over them, so they need to listen to every word that you have to say. So unaona hapo issue ni wewe, issue it's not them. Yeah, so it's really important to put these factors into consideration. Like, kwanza, is it normal for them to do whatever they are doing? Is it changeable? Is it something they can do something about? If it's not, imebidi umezoea. Unaona? Then secondly, is it you ama is it them? Shida ni wao kweli ama ni wewe mwenyewe na issues zako?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
actually it was
that is what
you've reminded me of the talk I was listening to in Honest Tea Talk, and it says that sometimes when we engage with people with toxicity, and then let's say we cut off each other from that, and then we don't do the inner work, we don't take time to heal the wounds, we just cut off the other person and approach another person. Sometimes we treat the other person with what the other person treated us, because it's a wound that we didn't give time for it to heal. So we are projecting that wound to another innocent person. So it has really reminded me of us also looking into us, like sit down with yourself before you say that my roommate has 1, 2, 3. Look into yourself, like what you have said. Is it about them or is it about me? Is it that I have some issues to change, or is it that they need to change a certain way they approach things? So I think, guys, unless you have anything to add to all those amazing points, I personally don't. And
I'm sure
one more thing. The other thing is, okay, I don't know, I don't have a better way to say this, but mind your own business. Like, kama kitu akikuhusu na roommate wako, yani uona ni chake, it's personal, don't even try to understand it. Just mind your own business. Because kuna ile nimepigia simu na mtu, nimeongea naye, nimecheka, nikimaliza kuongea na simu, huyo ni nani? Like, kuna vitu vingine just don't have to,
unless the other person wants to share.
Ama pengine wajua kuna watu wengine, other people take medicine, tuseme yonywa dawa kila siku, wamuona you're like, dawa za nini? Wajua, yani there's some things si lazima ujue between wewe na roommate. Kuna vitu vingine tu ni vyake mwenyewe. So ukiona like something is personal na yeye, like you have to know your boundaries. Lazima ujue ikifikia hapa mimi sifai kujua. Just yani mwachie vitu vyake mwenyewe, na yeye pia atakuachia vitu vyako. because some roommates can be annoying. Yeah.
Thank you so much for bringing that amazing points.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't
Yeah,
think
it's
that
really,
it was really important, but it is important to know
yeah,
what to
it
ask
is
and what not to ask. Mashallah.
exactly. Yeah.
So guys, I'd like to give my parting shot on this, and then I give you guys your a chance to say your parting shot. So basically what I have learned from all this is that we are all human beings, right? We all make
Mhm.
mistakes, and we should not forget that our roommates are human beings, and so are we. So as much as there is the bad side of things, but we should actually magnify the good side of our roommates, the good side of the people we are living with, so that we can have that healthy roommate relationship. To you, Marera, what is your parting shot based on this?
I think communication, as in from this, I am learning that communication is actually key. It's everything. Communication is everything you need with your roommates, because ile ukijiwekea mwenyewe vitu vyako, hakuna siku mtakuja kuelewana.
Yeah.
Kaeni chini muongee vitu. Kuna mtu kama mimi, I don't like talking about things. Umeniudhi, nitakusamea tu hivyo mwenyewe. But I think that's a very bad, should I say habit? If hupendi kitu mwambie mwenzako, kaeni chini muelewane. Communication and being kind. In a world that you can be anything, be kind. It doesn't matter kwa nani. Lakini kwa roommate, yani I want to say that lazima uongeze ile kindness for you to coexist peacefully. Yeah. So I think communication and being kind. Yeah.
Mashallah, thank you so much. Sheba. So Sheba, your parting shot should come based on this question. I just thought about it, and because we are winding up, I can't start the conversation over again. So I just have to throw this at you. So yes, I have listened to this, but let's say I'm that person who has not done any of this stuff. How do I start off? I really want to be a good roommate, but yeah, how do I start off?
As my parting note on this whole roommate thing, like, you want to become a good roommate, how do you start becoming a good roommate? Obviously there are things that your roommate maybe dislikes that you're doing, so those are the things that are terming you a bad roommate to your roommate. And remember, like, you can be a good communicator, but the way you're communicating, the way you're communicating to your roommate isn't the way they like to be communicated to. So you need to identify what is making them term you as a bad roommate, and then work on correctifying, amending, looking on to correct those things, because those are the things that your roommate sees in you that are making them see you as a bad roommate, and work on those things. And then inshallah, that is like going to be a really nice point to start in terms of making you a good roommate, whatever a good roommate is. But another point is to, like, put yourself at the center of the picture. Don't expect people to be kind to you if you're not kind to them. Be kind and considerate to them first, and then they are going to be kind to you as a reaction way. So put yourself in the middle of the thing. How would I love this thing being said to me? How would I love this being done to me? So once you figure out that, then that is a really, really good point and a good step, a good place to start cultivating a good relationship with your roommates and all that kind of good relationship. So thank you guys so much for being here today. I was really I'm really happy for interacting with Saumu and Mwana. You guys are so amazing, and I really hope inshallah we have more of this interactions and talks in the future, inshallah. And thank you guys for watching, and Mwana is going to close up this part. Anyways, bye.